Welcome to another deep dive, and this time we're going to infinity and beyond with Toy Story 3.
To infinity and beyond.
But hold on to your hats, because we're not focusing on Woody and Buzz's adventures this time.
No spaceships or aliens today.
Exactly. Instead, we're diving deep into something way more fascinating, the incredible range of reactions the movie sparked, especially on IMDb.
Oh, those user reviews are a goldmine.
Talk about a roller coaster of emotions. You've got grown adults admitting they cried, full-on sobbed during the movie.
And right alongside those, you've got folks calling it predictable, even saying some parts were too dark for a kid's movie. I mean, come on, it's Toy Story.
Well, that's what we're here to unpack. What is it about this film that pushes those buttons? And like we always do, we're going straight to the source, those IMDb reviews.
Let's see what those folks have to say.
Ah,
They're the ones in the theater with the popcorn, after all.
all right. So nostalgia, that's a word that pops up a lot, especially in reviews from folks in their 20s. Like, they really felt this one.
It's like the movie hit them right in the feels.
Exactly. One reviewer, Zamitlu, actually described crying after the film.
And not just a few tears, right?
And they said full-on crying because it brought back such vivid memories of their own childhood toys being gone. Just poof, gone.
Can you imagine? It's like those toys become vessels for all those childhood memories, and then suddenly they're gone. And a part of you feels like it's gone too.
That's powerful stuff. So those toys, they're not just plastic and stuffing, they're like tangible pieces of your past.
Exactly. And when they disappear, it's like a part of your childhood disappears too.
Now, here's where it gets interesting. Remember Solo Hero 5, 19 years old, said watching Toy Story 3 literally made them feel like a kid again.
Like they were right back in their childhood bedroom, playing with those toys.
But then you have someone like Vartianen. They watched all the Toy Story movies as an adult and found the ending, where Andy gives his toys away, to be corny, even unrealistic.
So it's like having that shared history with the characters growing up alongside them makes the emotional impact so much stronger.
Yeah, I'm seeing that pattern too. Now, this brings up something else that reviewers keep mentioning, and it's Pixar's storytelling.
Ah, yes, they are masters of their craft.
But it's more than just being good storytellers. It's how they manage to craft something that speaks to both kids and adults. I mean, remember that reviewer, Slokes, called it Metaphysics by Mattel? What do you make of that?
Well, that Sloat's getting all philosophical on us. I think what they're saying is that Pixar takes these toys, right, these simple playthings, and uses them to explore really deep questions about life, purpose, our place in the universe.
So it's like these toys, Woody, Buzz, they're dealing with their own existential crises.
Well, in a way, yes. They grapple with their fear of being forgotten, their purpose beyond just being played with. It's heady stuff.
Heavy stuff indeed. But Pixar does it with such a light touch, There's still that humor, those slapstick moments, those little details that capture the essence of being a kid.
Absolutely. Remember how Recipe 216 praised the maturity of relationships between the toys? And how even simple stuff like a cardboard box can become this amazing spaceship or escape route? It's that blend of childlike wonder and sophisticated storytelling that makes Pixar so special.
Agreed. And here's where things take a bit of a turn. Some reviewers found Toy Story 3 surprisingly dark.
Dark. Toy Story, come on, it can't be that bad.
Well, maybe not scary movie dark, but definitely some moments that had people going, whoa, didn't expect that.
Okay, give me an example.
Okay, take the Sunnyside Daycare. At first, it seems like paradise, right? Toys galore, kids to play with all day long.
Sounds like a toy's dream come true.
Right, but then, bam, it turns into this oppressive place, almost like a prison. Lots of hug and beer. Well, let's just say he's not the cuddly teddy bear you might expect.
So it's not all sunshine and rainbows then?
Definitely not. And some reviewers, like La Platypus, felt that this darkness, particularly the whole idea of toys being forgotten and discarded, sent a pretty negative message, especially for little kids.
Interesting. So it's like they're saying Pixar went a bit too far in trying to balance those darker themes with the lightheartedness we usually associate with Toy Story.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance, for sure. And this leads us to another point of contention, the ending.
Ah, yes. Andy's decision to give his toys away to Bonnie.
Exactly. It was like a line in the sand for a lot of viewers. Some, like The Fifth Echo and Interim, found it incredibly moving, a natural progression for Andy and the toys.
The Circle of Life, Toy Edition.
But then you have others, like our friend Vartianen, who just couldn't buy it. They thought it was way too sentimental and just didn't ring true.
So the ending really hit people on a personal level. Their own experiences with letting go, with saying goodbye to things they cherished, all of that played into how they felt about Andy's choice.
It's like the ending became this Rorschach test, revealing as much about the viewer as it did about the film itself.
I love that. And it's a perfect example of how art, even something as seemingly simple as a children's film, can evoke such a wide range of emotions and interpretations.
So we've got nostalgia, storytelling genius, and some pretty thought-provoking questions about darkness and that ending. Where do we go from here?
Well, in part two, we're going even deeper into those individual reviews. We'll see how viewers connected the toys' experiences to real-life issues like societal structures and power dynamics.
And I'm betting there's even more to uncover about those fascinating character critiques. So stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back with even more insights into Toy Story 3. And we're back, diving deeper into those Toy Story 3 user reviews. It's amazing how much we're uncovering just from what people are saying about this movie.
It's like they're peeling back the layers, going beyond just I liked it or I didn't like it.
Exactly. And one thing that keeps popping up that I find super interesting is how people are connecting the toys' experiences to real-life issues. It's not just a kids' movie anymore.
No, it really does make you think. Remember Zametlu, the one who was so moved by the film? Well, their reaction went deeper than just missing their own toys.
Right. It was like they were tapping into something bigger.
Exactly. They were questioning why their mother gave away their toys without their permission, connecting it to that feeling of loss and lack of control that a lot of kids experience.
So it's touching on themes of agency, of who gets to decide what happens to your things. And that's a pretty heavy topic for a movie about talking toys.
But that's the brilliance of it. Those toys, they're constantly at the mercy of forces beyond their control. Andy, growing up, being taken to the daycare, it's like a reflection of how we often feel in the real world.
Especially as kids, right? You don't always have a say in what happens to you or your stuff. Now, Slokes, remember them, they took it a step further, connecting the toys' fear of the unknown to the anxieties we all face as adults.
Oh yeah, like when Andy's heading off to college. It's a huge life change, and it's scary. You don't know what's coming next. That resonates with everyone, not just kids.
And they even compared the Sunnyside Daycare to a dystopian society. Talk about deep reading into a kids' movie.
Well, they had a point. Those rigid rules, that hierarchy, it does feel like a commentary on social structures and power dynamics.
So we're seeing how this film can be viewed through so many different lenses. It's really a Rorschach test for the viewer. Speaking of different lenses, La Platypus had some interesting thoughts too.
Yeah, they were the one who found the movie too dark, right? Especially for kids.
Yeah, but their critique went deeper than just the scary moments. They felt like showing those toys being discarded and forgotten sent a negative message, like things just end and that's it.
A bit bleak, maybe. I mean, childhood should be about joy and imagination, right?
Right. And they even felt like the film missed a chance to teach kids about cherishing their things, preserving those memories. Instead, it focused on the sadness of those memories fading away. It's like two sides of the same coin, really.
Some embracing the bittersweet reality of growing up, others holding on to a more idealistic view of childhood. Now, remember Chandian 69762? They had mixed feelings about the movie overall, but they love Lotso.
Yeah, Lotso Huggin' Bear, the villain of the daycare. Interesting choice.
But it speaks to Pixar's ability to create complex characters, even the bad guys. Lotso's backstory, his own experiences with abandonment, it makes you understand him, even sympathize with him a little.
Even while you're rooting against him, right? It's that classic Pixar move, giving depth to every character. Okay, switching gears a bit, what about the animation? Even those who weren't totally on board with the story had to admit the visuals were stunning.
Oh, absolutely. Derek called the animation lifelike and flawless. And you can see how much it's evolved since the first Toy Story. Pixar's always pushing the boundaries.
And Beast Wars fan was impressed by how many new characters they introduced. I mean, there was a whole new world to create, but it still felt connected to the original films.
It's that attention to detail, creating a world that's both expansive and believable. And then we have Movie Addict 2016. They really nailed it when they said Toy Story 3 was the most human and moving film of that summer.
Hitting all the right notes, humor, adventure, and those deeper emotional themes that really stay with you. It's a powerful combination.
So we're seeing those same themes popping up again and again. Nostalgia, Pixar's storytelling magic, the darkness versus lightheartedness debate, and that ending that just divided everyone.
It's almost like this movie is a conversation starter, a way for us to talk about those bigger questions about life, childhood, and how we deal with change.
Exactly. And remember, these are just a few voices from a sea of reviewers. Everyone brings their own baggage to the movie theater, their own experiences and interpretations.
And that's what makes it so fascinating. We're all looking at the same film, but seeing it through our own unique lenses. And we're back for the final act of our Toy Story 3 deep dive. Wow, what a journey it's been. So many different perspectives, so many emotions.
Yeah, it's been like riding a roller coaster through the landscape of people's reactions to this movie.
And we've seen some pretty intense drops and turns along the way. But now it's time to get off the ride, take a breath, and think about what we've learned.
Yeah, like what are the big takeaways from all of these reviews? What connects them all?
Right, because even though there's so much variety in the opinions, there are definitely some common threads running through them.
I think one of the biggest ones is that idea of personal connection. Again and again, people talked about how their own experiences with toys, with childhood, with growing up, it all shaped how they felt about the movie.
Yeah, like it wasn't just watching a story unfold on screen, it was almost like reliving a part of their own lives.
Exactly. And that ties in with another major theme, nostalgia. Toy Story 3. It was like the closing chapter of a story that a lot of people had grown up with.
Right, like saying goodbye to something precious.
And that sense of nostalgia, that bittersweet longing for the past, it definitely made the emotional impact of the film even stronger. Especially that final scene where Andy gives his toys away.
Oh man, that scene. Talk about a tearjerker for a lot of people.
Yeah, some viewers, like Interrealm, they talked about how it was like a punch in the gut, but in a good way. Like it made them confront the reality of growing up and letting go.
Right, that we can't hold on to everything forever. But of course, not everyone was on board with that. Remember Vartinen? They just couldn't get past the sentimentality of it all.
Yeah, they felt like it was too unrealistic, too Hollywood. And that's a valid point, too. I mean, who are we kidding? Nobody gives away their childhood treasures that easily.
So it's like that ending became this mirror, reflecting back everyone's own personal views on nostalgia, on letting go, on growing up.
And that's what makes art so fascinating, right? It's all about interpretation. What resonates with one person might leave another cold.
And speaking of different interpretations, those contrasting viewpoints really came out when we looked at the film's darker moments. Like some people were totally creeped out by the daycare scene.
Yeah, they felt like it was too intense, especially for a kid's movie. But then others, like Slokes, they saw those dark parts as a way of reflecting the anxieties and challenges we all face in life.
So it's like there's no one right way to react to those parts of the film. It's all about individual sensitivities and perspectives. And that's okay.
Exactly. And even with all those differences, there was one thing that pretty much everyone agreed on. Pixar's artistry and technical brilliance. The animation, the character development, the storytelling, it was all top-notch.
Yeah, they really hit it out of the park with this one. It's like they found the sweet spot between being entertaining and being meaningful, making a film that works for kids and adults alike.
So what's the big takeaway for our listener? I think it's this. There's no one right way to experience Toy Story 3. It's a movie that speaks to each of us in a different way.
So don't just watch it passively. Think about it, feel it, connect it to your own life. How does nostalgia shape your view of the film? What do you make of the darker moments? And ultimately, what does Toy Story 3 tell you about your own relationship with growing up, with letting go, and with the power of stories?
Well said. And with that, it's time to say so long, partner, to this episode of The Deep Dive.
We'll see you next time for another deep dive into a fascinating topic. Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those conversations going.